All right, all right, all right. Hello. Today is Tuesday. Welcome to the Comfort Level Podcast. I'm Janice Manny, your hostess. I'm back. And we're here at WCMD where diversity is our strength. And as we continue to inspire others to new beginnings, by bringing awareness to what matters most to our people and community. How y'all doing? The weather is great, right? Well, I want you to be inspired to bring your voice, yourself, and who you were born to be to the surface. Yes, to the surface. You have purpose. We all have it. No one ever sat on the bench and made a goal. This podcast is for everybody. Our get featured guests are unique and they all have a lifetime of experiences to inspire and motivate a world to establish a common denominator, a healing we all need to begin to, relive and repair on life situations. We've become accustomed to a lot of different beliefs and ways of coping. We've been through a lot of things, and you know what I mean? So, I mean, you've been told things, you've been doing things. So what it is we're stuck and we're used to doing things certain ways, but there's other ways. But individually, what gets us motivated to do better or do more? Just to take action or control over our own thoughts, the things that we do, our own patterns. Today, we're going to discuss how to get motivated, and our motivational check comes from Terry Tucker, who actually wrote the book. And Terry will be shortly. In the meantime, I want to tell you a few things on how to motivate yourself every day. We pray for motivation and time management. We define our goals clearly. We look for inspiration. We celebrate our little accomplishments. You have to start somewhere and say no to being perfect. Perfectionism is very far off. Nobody's perfect. Big break off those big to-do lists into small ones. Make a list and prioritize that small list. So each and every one of us has those days when we're just not feeling it. We're mentally and physically drained, and the last thing we want to do is crawl out of bed and tackle the day. Does anybody feel like that? Please leave your comments. And if you need to get on our Facebook page, it's right there. Facebook page, although it says Reality Music CO, that is my primary company, but that will take you directly to the Facebook page of the Comfort Level Podcast. Make sure you like the page and you're subscribing to our pages, our YouTube pages, WCMD Media, the Comfort Level Podcast. We're on Twitter, Twitch, and the web. So make sure you are checking out that and our other outlets. So unfortunately, we do not have the luxury to stay in bed all day. Got to get up. When this happens, it's time to use some techniques to help you overcome an emotional hurdle. So I'm going to give you 7 techniques that you can use to help you motivate yourself daily. Number one, you can review your goals first thing in the morning, and you pick one thing to do. Pick one thing. Sometimes life gets in the way and it distracts us from accomplishing goals or tasks. So to stay on track, you review your goals when you first wake up in the morning, and you start working on one of the most important goals and put a plan in place to achieve that one goal. Yes, success has some excellent tips on setting powerful goals, such as evaluating and reflecting what's going on in your life right now, defining your dream and your goals. Make your goals SMART, SMART. That stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, of course, and time sensitive. All those things are what makes you able to go forth and obtain some of the goals. You know what I mean? So if it's sensible, you'll be able to do it. And you have to hold yourself accountable. Okay? So if you don't reach that goal, it's only you and your fault. Come on, come on. We just making it to number 2. Get happy, get happy, get happy. Okay? Now think about all of the times that you procrastinated. You didn't do it. I bet a majority of those times was when you was in the best of your moods too. Right? So to combat the procrastination so that you can stay productive and keep moving forward, make yourself happy by showing gratitude. Surround yourself with positive people. Celebrate small wins. Be charitable. Doing things that you enjoy and even forcing yourself to smile. When you're helping others, it has to put a smile on your face. You know what I mean? You got to be happy about some things. You can't always be running around like a grouch and skeptical of everything. You have to try things. You could put some loud music on and clean your house for a few minutes and just dance around, clean out your desk or something. The technique it's usually just to get you motivated, get you onto your important work, and just stop procrastinating. It's easy. We do it every day when we listen to music. Bring that into your work. Music is all around me, with my work. So this is what, I do. You can also get motivated by others. When you really need, like that extra motivated push, you can always turn your words or your art, turn them to the words or the art of others. Look at others. With music, you can make a playlist, the songs that, get you excited or inspired, instead of just waiting on the radio and hearing, they playing all tear jerkers. So you listen to the radio, they playing all tear jerkers. Of course you're going to be in that mood. You know what I mean? And then reminiscing and stuff like that. Make your own playlist. Put on them happy feelings, happy feelings in the air. I can't sing, but whatever. Frankie Beverly, that's my thing. Okay? So you can always turn to the words or the art from others. Just be inspired. After all, music can change the mood and lift your spirits. Try some music. Besides music, books, movies, videos, That can assist you in moving forward through inspiration and guidance. We watch stuff podcasts. Don't leave that out. Podcasts is the number one thing happening today that are inspiring people to voice their opinions, to stand up, to sound off, and to be out here to be noticed, pulling them brands and working us all together and bringing the community tight. We living again. And if you don't get with it, you're gonna be left out of the boat. Yes. So it's sink or swim. Don't forget the thousands of motivational quotes. You're finding them online. They're from successful or respected individuals that can immediately change your mindset by making you more optimistic. Yes. You got to have fun. You just got to have fun with it. We all have those everyday tasks and the chores that are boring and mundane, they're dull. I mean, who really wants to clean the dishes or, me? I'm home. Work for me. Since I'm single, I don't have that many dishes, but I have a dishwasher, but I'm writing a blog. I'm writing a blog post. You know what I mean? So these are things that I do. The thing is, you can have some fun with these otherwise uneventful tasks. So I mentioned music, but it's easier to keep yourself happy than to have to bring yourself up when you're down and you're real low. For example, you can sing and you can dance when you're cleaning your office or your home. Skip down the grocery store aisle. They always got music playing, and I be jamming in there when I go to shop. I got 3 more things for you. You can cut your to-do list in half. That's right. A lengthy list, they're roadblocks. Lengthy lists are roadblocks that prevent us from achieving success. The list is so long, you know what I mean? And you never get through it. Cut the list shorter. Instead of going forward, these lists, they hold us back. You got to cut your to-do list in at least half so that you can focus, on the most completing things first. Some studies show that if you have more than 7 tasks on your list, you won't do none of them. You won't do none of them. Yet, if you only have 3 items listed, the likelihood to finish all 3 is very high. So don't put too much on yourself. You can find a partner in crime. That's right. Take some of the load off you. Find a partner in crime. Having somebody by your side is one of the has been one of the motivators since this person is your biggest cheerleader. You understand what I'm saying? Your partner in crime. And, they motivate you whenever you feel like throwing in the towel, when you feel like giving up. Your boy or your girl, your partner in crime, they're going to be right with you and say you can do it. So, last but not least, you got to take a break sometimes, okay? You have to take a break sometimes, and I feel like that sometimes I do need to take a break. But you know what? That is why I design little cheats for myself. So when I feel like taking a break, tap, 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 and I can get the job done, So I set that up for my own business purposes, It's on the list. You know what I mean? And those little things that I had set aside for when I went, I give myself gratitude for that, for having that. So I understand that your life is chaotic between work and your family. You're constantly on the go. This becomes a problem after a while because you're exhausted. You burnt out. Burnt out. Yeah. So even though you believe that you don't have the time to take a vacation or whatnot, at least you can do is, take a day or two to decompress. It recharges your batteries, get the spark in you, and it gives you a new outlook on everything that's going on in your life. So whether you're taking a couple days off or even just 15 minutes, I don't care. Take some time to relax. When you return to work, you'll be surprised at how refreshed and enthusiastic you are. Okay, so our guest is going to be coming up shortly. And speaking of getting in the mood for some music, let me see here. I'm going to put this up right here and let you know what's coming up. See the little joint right there, my little logo in the corner. You'll see that house remix. It's by my guy Lassiter, the lead singer of the Intruders, and that dropped on Friday. Yes, it dropped on Friday. Yep, and he got his guy Edgar Torres and DJ Frankie Paradise to remix this song that he dropped last year. Was a remix from Billy Ocean. It's called Nights, Feel Like Getting Down. And now it's a remix from Lassiter called Nights, Feel Like Getting Down. And hey, guys out there in Instagram land, you guys want to hear it? Here it goes. Mood music, feeling good. Mood music. It's just one of those nights. One of those nights feel like getting down. It's just one of those nights. Oh, still rocking, right? Time for a line dance. For this line dance. I'm cracking up. Oh, yeah. One of them nights you feel like getting down. I'm laughing. I'm in here laughing at myself because I'm seeing myself on the camera and forgetting that, like, I got different angles looking at me, and people are seeing me from different angles and not just the part that I'm seeing myself. You know what I mean? So that's a good thing that's going on. I guess it's here. Add him up into the stream. Hello, Mr. Terry Tucker. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can. How are you?
All right, I'm doing good. Welcome to the Comfort Level Podcast. I'm Jenny Schmanny.
Well, thank you, Jenny Smanny, for having me. I'm looking forward to talking with you.
We need a motivational check. Everybody seems to need that motivational check. We've been laying around. They told us don't go outside. Go outside. Don't go outside. And then all that stuff before that as well.
I know. You don't know who to believe, do you?
All right. So, Mr. Terry Tucker is an author. I'm going to let you tell the people who you are.
I don't know who I am. I'll tell you one of these days I got to figure out what I'm going to do when I grow up. But yeah, I'll give you the condensed version. I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago. You can't tell this from looking at me or from my voice, but I'm 6'8" tall, and I played college basketball at the Citadel in Charleston, South Carolina, despite having 3 knee surgeries in high school. When I graduated from college, I moved home to find a job. I'm really going to date myself now, but this was long before the internet was available to help. Fortunately, I did find that first job in the corporate headquarters in the marketing department of Wendy's International, the hamburger chain. Unfortunately, I ended up living with my parents for the next 3.5 years as I helped my mom care for my father and my grandmother, who were both dying of different forms of cancer. Professionally, as I said, started out in marketing at Wendy's. Then I became a hospital administrator. Then I made a major pivot in my life and became a police officer. And I worked undercover narcotics. I was a SWAT team hostage negotiator. I started my own school security consulting business. I coached girls high school basketball. In 2020, I became an author. But for the last 10 years, I've been battling a rare form of cancer, a rare form of melanoma. And then finally, my wife and I have been married for 28 years. We have one child, a daughter, who's a graduate of the United States Air Force Academy. and is an officer in the new branch of the military, the Space Force.
Well, I want to say to my viewers, I wish any one of you would even lay down and go to sleep. If you're not motivated, I don't know what to tell you. Wow. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. I mean, okay, first of all, did you ever want to be any of those things that you did? I mean, we all came up. When I came up, my mother was a nurse. So naturally, I thought maybe I'd be a nurse.
Yeah, I always wanted to be a policeman, believe it or not. My grandfather was a Chicago police officer from 1924 to 1954 and was actually shot in the line of duty with his own gun. It was not a serious injury. He was shot in the ankle taking a murder suspect back to jail. And so when I expressed interest in becoming a police officer, my dad was, oh, no. You're going to go to college. You're going to major in business. You're going to get out, get a great job, get married, have 2.4 kids, and live happily ever after. But that's the life that my father wanted me to live. It's not the life that I felt I was born to live. So
I didn't want
to do that.
You had to listen. You had to listen. So you tried it.
Yeah, I did. And I enjoyed doing it. But my identity was not tied to being a police officer. I could do other things with my life. I was fortunate to have a college degree. I had a master's degree. I'd been to law school. So I could do other things. But, I knew a lot of policemen that had been, not a lot, but I knew enough policemen who had done the job for 40 years and their whole identity was tied up in that gun and that badge and their authority. And that wasn't me. I loved what I did. I did it to try to make a difference in my community. But it wasn't who I was. Right.
So, I mean, I guess that leads you on to exploring other things.
Yeah, it did. And one of them was being a girls' high school basketball coach, which was a lot of fun, but certainly something that was entirely different. I mean, my life, I have two brothers. I have no sisters. I went to a Catholic, all boys Catholic high school.
And you played basketball with them, and now you got to play with the wimpy girls.
Well, they're not wimpy, I'll tell you.
You found out, didn't you?
They are tough. I like that. I really did. But it was just such, and my wife and I have a daughter, and I remember when, we went to the OBGYN and we were like, do you want to know what it is? We're like, yeah, sure. Like, well, you should buy pink. And I was like, oh, no. You need to keep it in there till it's done. I don't know anything about raising a girl. So
wow.
It was a great experience for me, though.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yes, I guess it just takes a lot of motivation. I mean, a lot of us go through stuff. I mean, there's nothing, I just want to say this, nothing. You can do anything, you set the goal, you inch your way to it. Earlier, before you came on, I talked a little bit about setting the goals and, just getting into a practice of doing little by little every day so that the goal could be achievable. But I mean, you've really done a lot, like a lot more than I ever even think that I would even want to do, after I do so many things, because I do music and I blog and I do affiliated marketing, radio and podcasts. I don't want to add any.
But you never know, I mean,
I don't know.
And you make a good point. We all, a lot of times in life, we want to be something. Let's just say we want to be a great salesperson, but that in and of itself is so large and so big. And what I think is an easier way to look at that is, what if every day you got 1% better at sales, or at podcasting, or at blogging, or whatever you were talking about? What if every day you got 1% better? At the end of 1 month, you're 30% better than when you started. At the end of 3 months, you're almost 90% better than when you started. So that's a
Exactly.
lot easier to digest. It's a lot easier to handle than just saying, I want to be a better salesman, or I want to be a better blogger, or I want to be a better podcaster. That's too big. We got to break it down. It's kind of that old joke, how do you eat the elephant? One bite at a time.
Yeah, everything's numbers.
Yeah.
It's all numbers. So, how do you feel about technology? Like far as, because I know you speak a lot, publicly and podcasts and stuff, motivating people. How about, the social media?
Yeah, I think, everything in and of itself is good. It's all how we take it and use it, where it can turn into something negative. And I certainly believe that technology has allowed us to be more in touch, to be closer with each other than certainly at any time in my life, probably at any time in your life. I mean, we have the
Oh,
ability at the flick of a button to talk to people halfway across the world. But at the same time, in a lot of ways, I think we're more disconnected. We're not, it's easy for me to, and my daughter, was guilty of this. It's easier for my daughter to send a text to somebody than it is for her to pick up the phone and call them and say the same thing. So in a lot
yes.
of ways, technology has been great. We're more connected,
Yeah.
but it's also forced us in a lot of ways to be less connected, to less in touch with each other. And I think that's bad because we need each other. I mean, I always tell people, you're unique, but you're not special. You have unique gifts and talents, but you're really not that special. You can't do anything by yourself. But us together,
Right.
we come
Together, it's
together, we can
force.
do anything we set our mind to.
Yep. You see, that they created a whole new language with the emojis.
I know.
It's a whole new language. You don't know what anybody's saying or what they're feeling
Yeah,
anymore.
they're using letters to make, it's like, LOL. Well, what does that mean? Laugh out loud. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And if you don't know it,
Yeah, you feel dumb.
I've had so many people ask me, I don't want to feel stupid or anything, but what does it mean? They'll ask you like in your DM.
Yeah.
Direct message.
Right.
So, okay, now let me see. Maybe I'm trying to get a hard question for you.
Okay.
Tell me. I know now you motivate a lot of people. Tell me one person that motivated you in your lifetime that always stuck with you no matter what.
Oh,
Or the best piece of advice, put that way.
That's not a hard question. That's an easy one.
It was easy.
And I'll tell you, I would say our parents, my parents. My mom and dad were, they had 3 boys. We were all athletes. I have a brother who was a pitcher for the University of Notre Dame. I have another brother who was drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers in the National Basketball Association. I mean, we were all athletes. We were all, going all over the place. And my mom and dad did what I would call divide and conquer parenting, where, it'd be like, okay, Terry's got a game over here. Dad will go to that. Larry's got a practice over here. Mom will go to that. And so we were all running in a million different directions. But what our parents taught us was the importance of family, the importance of loving each other, caring for each other, supporting each other. And I remember a story, I was working at Wendy's, so I had a job, but I was living with my parents, and my youngest brother was in high school, and he had a basketball game. And I remember telling my dad, I said, my dad was sick. My dad was dying. And I told my dad, I said, I'm not going to go to my brother's game because I haven't worked out in a couple of days. I want to go to the gym and work out. And my dad's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, what do you mean? No, I'm not. I'm a man. I have my own job. And he's like, no, you're not going to work out. You're going to your brother's game because your brother needs you. He needs you there for support. And that's what our family had always been about. So my mom and dad were the greatest motivators because they motivated not by what they said, but by what they did, by example, and I learned that's a huge lesson. I don't so much take what you say, I watch what you do. Now, if you say what you end up doing what you say, I'm good with that. But if you say one thing and do something else, I got a little problem with that. I
Yeah,
want
because we
people.
heard you. We heard you.
Yeah,
We just want to see you.
exactly. And so I'd say my parents are the two biggest motivators in my life.
It was a great answer.
Thank you.
Great answer.
It was a great question.
Easy. Yeah, it's an easy question. So you. Oh wow, no. So tell us about your book.
So the book is called Sustainable Excellence: The 10 Principles to Leading Your Uncommon and Extraordinary Life. And it was really a book that was born out of two conversations I had. One was with a former player that I had coached in high school who moved to the area where my wife and I live. And one night, she and her fiance came over for dinner. And after dinner, I remember saying to her, I'm really excited that you're living close and I can watch you find and live your purpose. And she got real quiet for a while. And then she looked at me and she's like, well, Coach, what do you think my purpose is? I said, I have no idea what your purpose is, but that's what your life should be about. Finding the reason you were put on the face of this earth and then living that reason. So that was one conversation. And then the second conversation was with a young man in college who had reached out to me on social media. And he asked me what I thought were the most important things that he should learn, not to just be successful in his job or in business, but to be successful in life. And I didn't want to give him the, get up early, work hard, help others. Not that those aren't important. Those are very important. But I wanted to see if I could go deeper with him. So I took some time and I wrote some notes and eventually had these 10 thoughts, these 10 ideas, these 10 principles. And so I sent them to him. And then I kind of stepped back and I was like, well, I got a life story that fits underneath this principle, or I know somebody whose life emulates that principle. So literally because of my cancer, I had my leg amputated in April of 2020, and I started chemotherapy for the tumors that I have in my lungs in June of 2020. So during that 3-month period where I was healing from my amputation, I sat down at the computer every day and I built stories, and they're real stories about real people. I built stories underneath each of the principles, and that's how Sustainable Excellence came to be.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to read it. So
it's a good book, but it's a book about success, about how we can be successful. And I'm very proud of the book. I think it's a great book. But the second thing I guess I'd like to write is another book also about a word that begins with S, and that's significance. Success is what we do for ourselves. You're a successful podcaster, blogger, radio personality, but significance is what we do for ourselves. Is what we do for other people. Success is what we do for ourselves. Significance is what we do for other people. Now, don't get me wrong. I think you can be successful and significant at the same time, but I think I'd like to write another book that deals more with significance, how we can be significant in life, and less about success. Not that, like I said, I'm very proud of the book that I wrote. Yeah, well, I'd like to try something else as well.
Yeah. So is the book available everywhere, like on Amazon or whatever?
Yeah, it's available on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, Apple iBooks, pretty much anywhere you can get a book online, you can get Sustainable Excellence.
Okay, that's what we'll do. Let me type it up here and let the people see what we're talking about. I didn't prepare. And you have a website?
I do. I have a website that's called motivationalcheck.com. I put up a thought for the day every single day. And with that thought usually comes a question about maybe how you could apply that thought in your life. On Mondays, I put up the Monday morning motivational message, which is a video or a story. It's a little bit longer. And also on there are recommendations for books to read, videos to watch. All the different podcasts I've been on are on there, my social media links. So it's pretty much all encompassing at motivationalcheck.com.
Yeah, wow. And we're gonna make sure that we check that out because I like it. I had another gentleman. He sent me one. I don't know if he watched or not, but he had sent me a motivational clip, and I thought we was gonna like weed one in every now and then, but I didn't get it anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
It was great.
yeah.
It was great. Like somebody call in and give us the motivational. On Thursdays though, I have a girl that comes in. We do what we call the mogul moment, and she gives motivation, dealing with trauma and stuff like that. Because we feel as though, and maybe I can ask you how you feel about that. We feel as though we deal with brain trauma and brain injury, which is not always caused by an accident or a disease or anything like that, but could be caused by an emotion, a thought, a word, an action, or anything like that. Anything that causes an adverse effect to your brain function.
Yeah, I think there was a basketball coach when I was growing up at Indiana University. His name was Bobby Knight, and he had a great quote, and this is what he said: "Mental is to physical as 4 is to 1." So here's this great coach teaching elite athletes how to use their bodies to be successful on the basketball court. But what he was really saying with that quote is your mind, your brain is 4 times more important than your physical body is. And
Right.
I had a nurse ask me one time, I had my foot amputated before I had my leg amputated. And she was like, "What was that like?" And I told her it was not easy. I'm still 2 years later learning how to walk again with a prosthetic leg. But what I told her was that, cancer can take all my physical faculties, but cancer can't touch my mind, it can't touch my heart, and it can't touch my soul. And that's who I am. That's who you are. This is just a house or a vessel to house who we really are. So, cancer can take whatever it wants, but cancer can never touch who I truly am.
I love you, Mr. Terry.
Well, thank you.
So
hey, we need
great.
more love.
Well, I've been through some stuff, and I've seen some people. Okay.
Yeah.
Prosthetic leg. Yeah, I had a boyfriend for 25 years that had one. So some things and whatever, he wound up, leaving because of blood cancer as well, and different things and different people and stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get into everything, but I just admire you so much. Look at you.
Well, thank you.
You're here, and like I'm too real. I'm too real for this. Okay, your head should be messed up, but it's not. I'm sorry, but it's not. You're not messed up. You're great. You're great. And you bring this to us so that we can learn these things. And we think about little things that bother us that is really nothing compared to this, what you have to endure, what you have made it through. God is good. God is great. And it's just.
You're right. And I have a very strong faith. And I remember about 4 months ago, my doctor showed me my CAT scan back from 2020, and I don't have any medical background, but I was able to look at that CAT scan, and I had fluid all around the pleural spaces of my lungs. I had these big tumors in my lungs, and I looked at my doctor and I was like, "How was I alive?" And he kind of shook his head and he was like, "I don't know."
He don't know.
And what that said to me was, God's not done with me yet.
And he's not.
And when I die, how I die, where I die, way above my pay grade. So I don't spend a lot of time worrying about dying. I spend more time trying to put as much goodness, positivity, love, motivation back into the world with whatever time I do have left.
I have a partner. I heard him come in, and I didn't want him to catch me. I apologize.
Don't apologize.
Allow me to introduce you to him, Mr. Terry Tucker. This is Papers.
Hello, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, Papers. How are you?
I'm finding yourself. I'm enjoying the day. You know, a little rainy day, but you know, ain't nothing. The little musk ain't, can't get out the way.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right.
I was crying because you know how I am.
Wow.
I was crying because Mr. Terry is good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good?
So that's why I was
Wow.
crying, because he's good.
Okay. Well, let's see.
You
what
ask
that
good
starts.
questions, so it's easy to be good.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, he's gonna have to go back and watch the recap, so he's gonna and he'll see everything and hear the whole beginning of the story. I'm not gonna make you go through it again, but Mr. Terry's author of the book is called Sustainable Excellence.
Okay.
He's also, he does motivational speaking, and you can tell him about. He's a Jamaican. Tell him about all the. To us, that means that lets him know that you had a lot of jobs.
There you go.
It's a little joke. I mean, it's actually racist. I shouldn't have did it, but can you please tell Papers all the jobs that you?
Sure. So I played college basketball
Okay.
at the Citadel in Charleston, South Carolina. Actually got to play against Michael Jordan when he was a freshman and I was a senior. So that was a great experience for me. But in terms of jobs, I started out as a marketing person at Wendy's in their corporate headquarters, the hamburger chain. Then I became a hospital administrator. Then I made a pivot in my life and became a police officer, worked undercover narcotics. I was a SWAT team hostage negotiator.
Okay.
I started my own school security consulting business. I coached girls high school basketball, became an author in 2020, but for the last 10 years have been kind of dealing with a rare form of cancer, a rare form of melanoma that has seen my foot amputated, my leg amputated, and I'm still being treated for tumors that I have in my lungs. So it's kind of a long road, but it's a road that I think has made me a better person.
Yeah, absolutely. It should. I sit back and my baby mother, she's going through some of the similar things, like far as like tumors and stuff, and dealing with cancer and everything like that. But still, being such a powerful person and try to just be the stronghold of the family and everything like that, and hold stuff down. So I understand where you're coming from with that. It's a big time journey. You never
It
know.
is.
With
And
days
I'm
you'll
sure
wake
she's
up and
very
you'll
happy.
feel bad. Some days may be worse than others. And being as though you have family members that know how to deal with that. You know what I mean? At the same token, is like a plus. Yeah, the support for that. You know what I mean? So.
And I'm sure she's very thankful that you're there for her.
I mean, some days she,
you don't even know.
I think I sometimes I turn into the government that that did things
Right.
to her and when she was in the Navy, but it's like, all right, and I'll be like, oh well, that's not me, babe, but I deal with it, and it's a good thing, but it's always good when you have somebody in your corner that knows how to deal with it and can be and show some type of empathy towards the situation. So, and so you're a jack of all trades, but most people don't know the whole meaning of, the jack of all trades. They always think, oh, the jack of all trades, but the real meaning of it, the real meaning is,
I don't know it.
Is even though like you're jack of all trades, but a master of none, right?
Yeah.
But you're still better than a master of one.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's always good to wear different hats, because you never know in life, what'll work out.
Yeah, it allows you to grow. It allows
Right.
you to learn. And if you're a lifelong learner, I don't care what you do, you're going to be successful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, knowledge is key. Knowledge is key.
Absolutely.
If you gain knowledge, the more knowledge, if you sit back and you listen and you don't say anything, you listen more so. you'll have a better impact in life later on in life, because the amount of gravity that you're going to have of words and knowledge that you do know and how to put things together. Do you put things together with your own, and you make your own hypothesis and stuff like that, so you become much more of a is like a threat, but a good threat, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what Nelson Mandela had, that great quote about, I never lose, I either learn or I win. So as long as you learn something, even if you're not successful at it, you still are learning, you're still winning because you're gaining knowledge.
Right.
So what are the type of people that you have helped so far?
I think it's funny for me, when you write a book and it's available around the world, and people reach out to me, and people you don't even know. And I remember I had a nurse one time who, when I first met her, she was a nurse, but she was in training in the unit where I get my therapy. And several months later, she was taking care of me by herself. And she was very young. She was about 25 years old. And she said, "Terry, I've got a story to tell you, but I'm a little uncomfortable." And I didn't really know how to reply to that. It's like, well, it sounds like it might be interesting. I'd like to hear it. And what she said eventually to me was, she said, "When I first met you, I was going to get out of nursing. I'd had a good friend of mine die, and I was in a very dark place. And I talked to my mom and dad. I was going to quit nursing, and I was going to go to work for Amazon. Okay. And then I met you, and I saw what you go through. I saw your cancer journey. I see how you come every day to try to make things better." And she said, "I knew I was where I was supposed to be." Now, if she would have never told me that story, I would have had no idea that my life had a positive impact on her. And so I always ask people, who's out there that wants to be like either one of you or wants to be like me, that we have no idea who those people are, but they would trade places with us like that.
Right.
And I remember there was a basketball coach at UCLA when I was growing up by the name of John Wooden. And he had a great quote. And this is what he said: "A careful person I want to be, a little person follows me. I dare not go astray for fear they may go the same way." Now, I'm not telling you to live your life based on somebody else. You have to live a life that's true to yourself. But at the same time, just kind of keep in the back of your mind, who's watching you? Who's watching how you conduct yourself, how you carry yourself, what you say and how you say it, because those people very well may want to be like you someday.
Right. And that could be your son, your daughter,
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
It could be the neighbor, you know what I mean?
Right.
Anybody, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Even grown people have have a thing where they like to follow people that's doing something inspirational, you know what I mean? So
right.
Yeah, man.
Sure, that's how we wind up in the jobs and using the skills that we thought we had till we and we learned the skills because somebody inspired us.
Right. Yeah. And that's usually your parents or, somebody who your caregiver, aunts, uncles, grandparents, whoever it is, somebody that I was saying earlier that, I became a police officer because my grandfather was a Chicago police officer. So, you want to follow in your footsteps. And, I've been lucky to do podcasts all around the world and not so much here in the United States, but in other countries. Ancestry is a very important part of their culture. It's like, my grandparents set the table for me or for my parents, and my parents have set the table for me. And now I'm setting the table for the next generation. So I think that's important. We don't, at least here in the United States, it's not as big of a deal globally, but in a lot of countries, it is a really big deal.
Yeah, it's a really big deal. We're lucky that we're allowed to choose some of our past because they choose everything for them.
Right. It's like this way and that's it. And it's no exploitation for growth or any type of
Sure, look at them. They just got kicked out the palace.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. The queen's not having it. It's their customs.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, because I just came from seeing my mother. She because I would stay by her bedside for 2 months straight while she faced her cancer, and we was at the hospital for a long time until her surgery happened, and she was able to get up out of it. And I tell you, like that's like I never want to see nobody go through that pain. So like I understand the pain that you was going through. Like that's that's traumatic. You know what I mean? And dealing with that, like just holding her, and she telling me that I'm the only person that can make her feel better by her holding my hand, and it's the warmth coming from my body, and you know what I mean? Like just anything helps. You know what I mean? Anything just helps the person.
Well, we
It
talked.
does.
We talked about how good God is, and we. I will speak for myself. Realize that it's ultimately God's choice of which direction we're going to go. He's going to handle it because my sister, and April 11th will be her 3-year anniversary of her death from carcinoma sarcoma.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so my sister, she was suffering with it before, but we found out, and a total of 9 months she left here. My sister spent 40 years in the same church serving the same God. So it has nothing to do with that. She went to get her rewards.
Yeah. It's God is in control. We're not. We
It's
all
not-
want things.
It's
on
not
our time.
you got cancer, I got cancer, and we're all going out of here and all this stuff. God got it.
He does. Yeah. I mean, hey, I don't think anybody's working on a cure for life right now. We're all going to die, so we might as well enjoy it,
Right.
So, Mr. Tucker, do you have any like organizations that like you do fundraising for, and and uplift the
Good
communities and things like that?
I mean, I'm fortunate. I was treated initially at the MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston, which is probably one of the premier, if not the premier, cancer hospital in the U.S., or maybe even in the world. I do give money there. And right now I live in Colorado, so I'm being treated at the University of Colorado hospitals. And I think I'm fortunate in that regard, because if you're in a university setting, and MD Anderson it's the University of Texas at MD Anderson. So it's the university.
Here in our city, Camden, New Jersey.
Okay.
MD Anderson. That's where my sister
and they have branched out. Absolutely. And so I do give to, those places because I've been lucky,
Right. Absolutely.
In university settings, you have the opportunity to be exposed to clinical trials that you can't be at other places. And, I mean, most clinical trials don't benefit the patient, but every now and then one does. And when it does, you want to be on the end of that success. So, yeah, I mean, cancer's come a long way. I mean, my dad died almost 40 years ago, and where I am now, I mean, if I would have had cancer when he did, I would have been dead a long time ago.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool that you give back and stuff like that. That's what it's about. It is most definitely. That's the most important part. Because you want to see a person have the same effect that you had and go through the same effect that you had. You know what I mean? The uplifting part. And all that when they don't have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And when I first was diagnosed, there were not very many remedies, very many treatments. I was talking to I did a podcast earlier today with a doctor in Canada who's a dermatologist, and he was telling me that melanoma years ago was pretty much a death sentence. I mean, they didn't have anything, they didn't have any way of treating it, and now they have things, that I've been allowed to be on, that I've been exposed to, that have gotten me to this point in my life. 10 years. I mean, they didn't give me 5 years when I was first diagnosed. So I've been very lucky because I've been in a university setting.
The most inspiring woman other than my mother in my life died from melanoma cancer. Her husband first.
Yeah, it's a nasty disease, and I wouldn't wish. I mean, everybody think, oh, you're out in the sun, it's no big deal. It is a big deal.
It's on the beach. My gate.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's it's called melanoma because it's the melon, the pigment in our in your skin, in my skin, that's what it attacks. And I mean, the biggest organ in your body is your skin. So,
Right. Holds everything
It
together.
is. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. It's
Mm.
just from, it can just come from sunbathing. I guess I don't know, how you get it, but
So
starts with a little mold.
right, I got
Yeah.
you. So now, do you travel
Right.
city to city and give inspirational, motivational teachings, city to city, or do you do it like via web?
I pretty much do it via web. It's very
It's
it's
more
very
easy.
difficult for me without, I only have one leg. I'm in a wheelchair. I do have a prosthetic leg, but that takes a lot of energy. I have an above the knee amputation. So I walk with basically my hip and my butt muscles. Whereas, my quadriceps, my quads and my hamstrings, they don't serve any purpose now. I mean, I don't have a lower leg, so that they don't do anything.
Right.
So it's having a prosthetic leg is physically taxing on me. So a lot of what I do is local. I'm in the Denver, Colorado area, so I'll travel around the state of Colorado or maybe to a state close to us. But in terms of traveling across the country and that,
You
it's
put
just
your damn on down.
No.
very difficult for me to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you still could be able to reach a whole lot of people and
that's
reach
what
the mass, you know
we
what I
were
mean?
talking about,
No matter
since
what. And that's the good thing about
since the
social
pandemic.
media.
Since the pandemic, we really dug into social media. As a
I've been
matter
very,
of fact,
very lucky, with social media to be able to do talks with people remotely. I can sit in my house and be on camera and talk to, a group of 500 people in that. So that I've been very fortunate in that regard.
yeah, and it's like a million platforms, where you can find people and things like that. Matt's FM, we went there.
Right.
A lot of people, and the networking. I think it developed for the better, the networking. Far as that, I didn't see too many new like apps come out. Just a lot of more people getting on Facebook and the Instagram and the TikToks and stuff like that, and creating a lot more content.
So, Mr. Tucker, what are your plans for the future? What do you have growing and
New book.
spurring up?
Well, I'm thinking about a new book. I'm also putting together a membership program. I sort of joke that, when there's that old joke that when we talk to God, it's called prayer. When God talks to us, it's called schizophrenia. So I'm not going to tell you that God ever talked to me, but I think a lot of things, what God does is he puts people in our path that make suggestions to us. And when enough people make those suggestions, I think if you're smart, you're kind of, perk up and be like, oh, maybe I ought to pay attention to that. And people have been reaching out with the book and be like, well, what about this? And, I'd like more content on that and things like that. So I've been convinced to do a membership program, which probably is going to go live June 1st. So I'm spending a lot of time now developing the scripts for the videos and recording the videos and things like that. So
so you can already be prepared, and then it's
exactly.
It's just like a rundown, like season 1, season 2 is already ready, and I'm ready to go and just lay it down so you could start grossing. Yeah, most definitely, and changing lives.
You have a comment. So I was speaking of this gentleman earlier, but I didn't say his name. So apparently you guys are friends. Mark V. Smith.
Oh, Mark, sure. Yeah. I love Mark.
He says that you're a great motivator, a great educator, and he's glad to call you a great friend.
Yeah, so, I've been on a couple of things that Mark has done, and he's asked me, and I'm like, hey, if you ask, I'm there. I'll be more than happy to help you.
Send me some more stuff.
That's good. That's a good thing.
Mark was the motivator who I put the clip up for.
Okay.
So I was like, send me some more so we can have them running through the podcast, on the breaks.
Yeah. Mark's a good guy.
Yeah, it's a good guy. And I'll take yours too if you would like. Just anything you got.
Super. I can do that.
I'll make it 2 or 3 minutes.
I can do that.
Quick one.
In and out, right?
Well, I mean, it's kind of hard, but you guys know how to get the message across. You got to come at them straight like that.
We try.
Yeah. Because sometimes you can find it difficult to do, because especially if you've never been the type to talk in front of people, but if you always been a motivational speaker, it's much more so easier, especially dealing with the kids in the basketball leagues that you used to coach and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, the girls league that you used to coach. So you actually know how to talk to people and how to get to people to make people understand and learn and listen, especially if you could get to the kids, you could get to a grown-up.
Yeah.
How do you make it fun?
I think you're
enthusiastic.
I mean,
you can tell.
Look enthusiastic. I know, but you see, I don't know. Maybe I seem a little crazy because I'm smiling, I'm crying. You know what I mean? But that's just
good.
me. That's why I named the podcast The Comfort Level. I want people to be comfortable. You know what I mean? Just get it out. And I don't mind. I don't mind crying or smiling and laughing. You know what I mean?
We're emotional creatures. We are. Things move us in different ways. Funny. We're sad. We're it's emotional. You want to. I'm the same way. You show me a good movie or something like that, I'll cry like a baby at the end of it.
Yeah.
Right.
The tears don't necessarily.
He said that's the only thing that can make me cry, right?
Yeah.
The good movie, that's it. That's the only time.
Tears doesn't always necessarily mean that you're sad.
Right.
There's a happy tears.
Yeah,
absolutely.
A happy tears.
Yeah.
Most of mine are sad, though. I gotta admit.
I have happy tears.
I'm right with you, Terry. Listen, lots of mine.
They either happy or heartfelt. I'm not gonna really cry about too much stuff like boo hoo, because.
Yeah. Like the other day,
we can pray for that.
The other day,
get over that.
My son he went missing, so he left out. He was hot. Came in morning time. I came in. I said, "Listen, you're moving too slow." So we had an argument. I said, "You're moving too slow. Your responsibilities ain't being handled like they supposed to be. We've been doing this for the last 4 years, and this has got to stop." So I reached my tipping point. Said some things. He said some things. After that, things were like, okay, I don't need you to do the trash no more. I could do it. I could do the dishes. I could do it all, just to show you that we can do it. So I thought everything was okay. Picked up the stuff that I knocked off the table. So I picked it up. Me and wife picked it up. I'm like, all right, boom. He was going out to go use the trash. So seeing him didn't dawn on him. So he leaves. He leaves for 37 hours before he was found. I was literally a detective on that day. I literally figured out that, my love for him was deeper. I literally figured out, how much I loved him, even more. And, what I'm saying? Like a whole lot of things came to head, a lot of emotions, things that I thought about that happened in my life. I started thinking about my daughters, all in one sense. So it was like a lot of emotions was running over me. And when I finally found him in 37 hours, I finally found her. I was working hard, and it was because of this. I'm gonna give a shout out to the Philadelphia police, Rosario at the end. Rosario, when he finally did come, he was on point because he thought just like I thought. We both had a hunch that the kid that came back to my house and said, "Hey, is Michael home?" That was a red flag. Right there. It was like when I seen that, and I'm like, Michael, I was like, he should be out here. He was like, oh, yeah, we was just playing with him earlier. but he said he was coming around here to check on go home, but we ain't seen him after that. So I was like, oh. And then the other little kid popped up from the behind him. So I was like, oh yeah. So then that's when they're doing it. Then I got to start looking for him. Start looking. I seen them later on. I didn't find him. I was like, yo, did y'all see him? No, we ain't seen Michael. The whole time they knew where Michael was. Michael was over their house.
Yeah.
Michael spent the night over their house. I finally get old. I see Rosario, he finally comes back. He finally gets there at 6 o'clock. I called him at 11 o'clock that morning. They didn't get there till 6 o'clock at night. And all this time we just looking. And they come and we talk. And he was like, man, let's go around there to the house. And I'm like, well, right now the kid is, in there by himself, you know what I mean? And he a little older. So, as kids in the city, if you was 11, 12, you grown enough to stay in the house by yourself.
Right. So
went around there and I gave her a 4-1. I'm like, listen, we going around there, the police. She like, all right, well, I hope he ain't scared. So then we get around to the police officer, talk to him, Rosario talked to him. So he was like, he's like, hey, you seen Michael? He was like, yeah, he be around there with those kids, but I haven't seen him in like a day or two, So then he was like, all right, cool. So after that, the lady came, she called me. She said, I finally made it home. She was like, hey, listen, come around here because my son, Makai, knows where the kid stays at. So I was like, oh, we do? All right, bet, cool. So I was like, all right. So I go around there. So because she came home like, so she made him give up information. Like, no, you got to let him find out where he at. So he told where he lived at. So I went around there not thinking, just thinking, because these were the bad kids in the neighborhood that ran around and did everything that they wanted to do and banged on everybody's door, ding dong Dixie, and just throwing rocks and they beating up each other. Like I was just be like, why do y'all do this? But I once was a kid, so
so we all were, right?
Right. So I knock on the door. Boom, it was the wrong house. With the lady that was there, she was like, listen, she said, it's not my house, but it's that house next door. So I said, all right, cool. You know what I mean? Because I said, listen, my kid missing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So boom, I leave, I go over, boom, and I knock on the door and I'm like, and then the kid that came to my door, he has a disability, like he has autism. So he came and he's real nice. But his other brothers be having, their friends be having him doing bad stuff. But he came up and he was like, he said, hey. I was like, hey, youngin, hey, what's going on? He's like, hey. I was like, it's me. I was like, it's Michael's dad from earlier. Michael's missing. I'm looking for. He said, hold on, I'm gonna get Michael right now. And he went.
Oh wow!
And like the relief of everything like just came out. Like I was like, wow, like he was here this whole time. So yeah. Now I go in there and I'm like, Mike, like what are you doing? Like we're looking for you. Like what's going on, man? Like we got your grandfather and your uncle. You know what I mean? Like. You don't want to do that. Like get her uncle and her grandfather involved. You know what I mean? That's like having the CIA.
They're not even in the state.
It's like CIA and grandpa.
Yeah.
Brother and CIA and grandpa. Like don't want to be in the same room together. Like, no. But they but when it comes to family, they work together. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? That's like you know what I mean? And I'm talking about like Bobby Fischer, really like Dutch and what's the movie from back in the day? Starsky and Hutch. You know what I mean? They when it comes down to the family and getting stuff done, they work together like wow. So I'm like, Mike, you don't understand what's going on. Like we got people from all over, like it's going, you know what I mean? Like, come on, man, why you ain't tell us where you was at? Like, what? I don't want to go back home. I'm like, why? It's just all somebody. I'm always getting yelled at. I'm like, because you don't never handle your responsibilities. All you need to do is handle your responsibilities. You can be a normal kid and do normal things. Like it's not too much to it. Like I was just happy that he was safe. Right. And my thing was, a lot of emotions came out at that time.
Yeah, because you skipped.
So
right
I forgave everything. No, I'm getting to the point. I skipped over everything. And I forgave him, and I gave him a straight, clean slate. I gave him a clean slate because he brought out emotions inside of me that you don't know that you have when you cry. You feel what I'm saying? So it's a good thing to cry. And and I just wanted to add that my story too. And I wanted to get that off my chest. Because and not only that, when I went to the house, the lady that had him, she was like a motivational speaker too. And she was like, just like I've been in your situation. Don't feel like that. Let that out. And she was like giving me like, and I'm just like, I was just crying more, and I'm all in her arms. You know what I'm saying? I'm in this lady's arms. And she's just her husband there, but I'm just like, I'm all, and it was a good feeling because I got to get out a lot of emotions that was tied down, and that's the most important thing about crying. And that's why I understood what you were saying, man. Your emotions, it comes from basically being more sadder than being happy. You know what I mean? So like I understand that. I smile all day, but it's fake because I hold in a lot and I'm dealing with a lot. So you know what I mean? That's the best way I know how to do it. And I just keep a smile on. So people are like, yo, what's up? So nobody won't even try to like disrupt me because it's like, oh, they know, oh, that's Pete. He got the smile on his face. Yeah. It's like, you know what I mean? So don't try to disrupt. I put up that wall so people won't disrupt me. Yeah. And I won't have to get emotional or feel like, you know what I mean? Because when somebody do, man, and that emotion running inside of me, it's like bubbling, and you know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy.
I do. But that's what makes us human. And we have feelings where animals don't. I mean, they do to a point, but not the way that we.
That's because they use 50% of their brain. We only use 10. Yeah. So they know how to deal with life way better than us. That's why they love us to death. You know what I mean? Like
unconditional. Yeah.
They know something that we don't know. You know what I'm saying? And we need to be more like that.
Right.
We need to be more like that with everybody. You know what I'm saying? I should be able to come over there and say, yo, you know what, Terry, man, I love you, man. You know what I'm saying? We having a good time. We out. You know what I mean? No matter what your profession is, no matter what you do, no matter, you know what I'm saying, if you was a criminal, no matter anything, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we're still human. You take all those laws away, all we got is us. You know what I'm saying?
What's that old Bible verse? Hate the sin, love the sinner.
Right. You know what I'm saying? That's the same thing about the game. Don't hate the year. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
You can always get over it.
Right.
Yeah. That's why,
so that's why it's like it should be like worldwide love, like for real, like, you know what I'm saying? Like all over, not just us few people out here trying to get people to love and make people to understand the situations and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 10, 20 years later down the line, we got to see a whole generation flip.
Well, we've been doing it here for a year, trying to resonate love through the community.
And this is where it starts.
At least 1 inch and 1 step at a time.
Yes, this is where it starts. You know what I mean? Us staying connected, us giving each other knowledge. You know something, I know something. We give each other knowledge. Hey, because I might not have known that. You know what I mean? The day before yesterday. And now you may have changed my perspective and put me on a different path. You know what I mean?
I do. Yeah, we can all learn from each other. I mean, there's, I don't know it all. I want to learn,
But your struggles made you learn more. So you do know something, a mustard seed of the vast knowledge that's out there. And that's all you need to know. And as long as you keep learning, you'll grasp more and more and more, and you'll be able to teach people. It's just saying, they say knowledge precedes speech and action.
Yeah.
To know the knowledge first. You have to gain the knowledge first. You know what I mean? Then you have to speak the knowledge. Once you gain the knowledge, because you know about it, so you got to speak it. You can't hold knowledge in. Knowledge is not meant to be held in. Knowledge is meant to be to be consumed and be to ate and to be put back out into the universe so that it could come back again and you could gain more knowledge. So boom. Then once you do that, then you have the action part. Now you gain the knowledge, you speak it, and now you're applying it.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
And that's it. That's what you have, and that's the number one thing that'll get you ahead in life. You know what I mean?
It is.
It's prosperity at its
But
best.
that's the problem with a lot of young people. They think they know it all. You know,
Right.
they're not willing. They're not willing to be open to. I need to learn more. You know, I need to constantly be learning.
Right.
So,
And my
How do
kid,
we get more people to listen though? That's
crazy.
problem.
Even Michael. Michael's a genius. My kid is a genius. His IQ is 137. He's smart. He's filled his own language. He knows how to do things. He could be CIA, he could be whatever he wants. You know what I mean? He's going to go for it because he's a shell. So he's going to get it. But he's smart, but he thinks he knows everything. Just because he knows everything. And I'm like, Mike, all right, you're textbook smart. Cool, that's fine and dandy, buddy. But let me teach you how to be street smart so you can balance your life. You have to balance your life. If you're too smart, you think you know everything, and then you do this. Oh, I don't want to do anything. I'm so smart that I can wait until the last moment to do my homework. Come on, man. Like, what are you doing? No, you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, but the rules still apply. You can't go outside and play until your homework's done.
Yeah.
How smart is that?
But this goes to tell you that it doesn't matter if you're a genius to the person that really don't even know how to even put one or two words together.
Yeah, I know.
We the same people. Regardless, you take everything away, we're the same. It doesn't matter. It's just one just knows it on a different level, and then the other knows it like this. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just about how you use it. But everybody needs to be taught, no matter what, and they need to be open for the vast nature of what's out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they have to.
That's you as a father. That's me as a father. That's we people learn by example. We were talking earlier about what people say and what people do. I don't really care what people say. What I care about is what they do. So if your actions mimic your words, that's great. But if they don't, that's going to make me pause a little bit to see, what kind of person or what kind of character do you have? And, you want to be a person of good character. And if you are, then, this is my life. I'll live my life and hopefully be an example to other people as well.
The most important thing is, as long as what Tupac said, he says, as long as I sparked one person.
Right.
Save one young life.
Young life, one person, that I've done my job. You know what I mean? Which regardless, whatever you're doing, good or bad, you're doing it through God. God is sending. He's making this happen for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you're feeding the same energy out to people and giving them what He's giving you.
Yeah, because you got seems like
to keep pushing.
Seems like you got a lot more to do, Mr. Terry.
Hey, I'll do it as long as he'll let me. So
yeah, he'll allow it. Now, guess what? 2 more people praying for you, and God knows who else is praying for you. That's watching these podcasts and your talks and reading your books and stuff. So
that means a lot to me. I mean, when people tell me they pray for me, that really does mean a lot to me, because I can't do this by myself. I need folks like you. I need people to pray for me, because it's, the more the merrier as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So we're now part of your support system.
Thank you.
So
thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Even if you don't, see us in the flesh, we're there in spirit. So
that means a lot, and I really do mean thank you from the bottom of my heart for that.
Yeah, we appreciate the generosity that
you
have given back to people, and your struggle. It means a lot, because other people have gone through it, and you set the journey for yourself to be magnificent, and it's done well for you, and you still have more gaining to do. I know it's a struggle every day, but you keep holding on, and and you'll be where you want to be. Like you said, you want to write more books, you want to give more inspiration, so you got what it takes. So don't lose that.
I won't. Well, thank you very much for having me on. I've enjoyed it.
Anybody you want to shout out to or say anything to before we out of here? I know we kept you for an hour.
No, that's fine. Hey, it was fun talking with both of you.
I
I'll just
really
say
enjoyed you. I hope you can come back again. You
I
know,
would love to.
I'm gonna send you a few messages.
Please do.
I
Please
will.
do.
Because I'm gonna listen in on some of the podcast stuff. Just
Thank you.
send me the.
I'll just say thanks to Mark for
share
giving me the shout out there.
Yeah, that's Mark. You know, just share whatever you're going to be on, so you know we could check it out, and we can also share it as well for you.
Okay, I appreciate
Guys,
that very much.
Make sure you guys go to motivationalcheck.com. Motivationalcheck.com. It's not that hard. I didn't put it up there, and most people, they're buying books on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, or whatever. Make sure you go out and look for that book, Sustainable Excellence. The author is Terry Tucker.
Well, thank you, Matt. Thank you both very much. It was a pleasure talking with you.
We thank you for coming through. Thank you so much.
No problem. We'll talk soon.
All right, Terry.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Lovely, right?
Yes.
Nice interview with Mr. Terry Tucker, giving us that motivational check. And you guys know that
You need that.
you need it.
You need that talk.
That's right. You need to check in every day with yourself and set goals for your own motivation, as we spoke about earlier on the podcast. That's it. Seriously. So
Yeah, because I had an intervention the other day and it felt
we
good.
use music.
It felt good.
You know, we use music, take a walk, take a vacation, take some time off, set the goals short. First of all, like I told you, you make your list. Okay. Then after you make your list, you shorten the list. That's what you do. That's right. You take the very most important thing first, and you handle that one thing. One, not all three. Listen, your list, a good list has about 7 things, 7 goals on it.
Right.
Good list.
A good
you
list.
know, because it's 7 days in a week.
Right.
So a good list. But if you want, I had said earlier you wasn't here. You probably won't even do all that shit.
No, you won't.
Pardon my French. You probably won't even do all that. But if you cut that list down to like 3 things, boom, achievable, right?
Yeah, much more because you're able to
Mm-hmm.
you're able to handle it.
And you don't want to have your number one most important thing be like a 20-step process. Maybe it's only 2 or 3 things that you got to do process to get this goal done. You know what I mean? Perhaps it's just sending an email to your favorite motivator. Yeah. So with that being said, our show is because we got something to do. I didn't prepare any music or anything good. You know, we listened earlier to Nights Feel Like Getting Down. You know, that's the hot thing going right now. And I'm going to play it for you one more time. All right? So this is the mood. This is the mood. You're not coming? Tonight?
Mm-hmm.
just one of those nights. One of those nights feel like getting down. It's just one of those nights. One of those nights feel like getting down. It's just one of those nights. One of those nights feel like getting down. I'm gonna find a place. I'm gonna take me a little higher. It's just one of those nights. One of those nights feel like getting down. It's just one of those nights. One of those nights. Club now. One of those nights. All right, we'll be back. We'll be back on Thursday with my girl, Lizzie Chanel. She'll be in the building 6 p.m. Make sure you tune in to all our podcasts. Me, Janny Schmanny, and Papers of Comfort Level Podcast, 856 Entertainment, the Midday Madhouse with Cha Cha and the Jello Lady, the Wake Up Show with IMD, I Shine Radio, the Kennel, and that dumbass radio show. We out of here.
Boy, Paper Man back with a banger, man.